officers and men of this ship are glad to welcome a fellow globetrotter like yourself, Mr. Ripley.
Thank you, Captain.
You'll find us a pretty hard-boiled audience, Mr. Ripley. We've been all over the world, and we've peeped into many strange places. But there are, believe it or not, in every port that we know nothing about.
The men are waiting to hear you, Mr. Ripley.
Well, I admit it's like carrying coals to Newcastle, but here goes. But before I show you some of the pictures taken on a recent Believe It or Not trip, I would like to sketch for you a most unusual Chinese, the walking street lamp of Chongqing, China. Some of you men who have seen service in the Far East may have seen this man. Believe it or not, in his forehead he had bored a hole. And in it placed a lighted candle. And now he walks about, lighting the streets of Chongqing. And now let's proceed on our little journey. But first, let me show you the most unique table and lamp in the world. This is the American Goodwill table, made of 75,288 pieces of wood, collected from all parts of the world by George L. Hathaway of Northville, Michigan, a disabled war veteran. It took him 7 years to build it. It contains pieces of wood taken from the White House, Longfellow's spreading chestnut tree, Perry's flagship, and even the tools used were shaped and built from material gathered in historical places. If a chain is as strong as its weakest link, surely this one won't stand much strain, because it's nothing but a parlor match, carved with a pocket knife into a chain of 25 links by Henry L. Brown of Detroit, who made it, keeps it under glass. And here's a little fellow that certainly puts on the dog. Brownie is the only dog who has a regular charge account. He calls daily at a butcher shop in Kansas City, gets a half pound of meat, which he eats on the sidewalk, and his owner, L.W. Andrews, pays the bill monthly. That's a hot dog. Now let's turn to Andersonville in Georgia, where the Providence Springs are located. An astounding story of faith is connected with this memorial. During the Civil War, the military prisoners here were dying of thirst. It was the hottest month of the year. These prisoners prayed for water, and in the midst of their prayers, an electrical storm broke out. And on this spot, as if by a miracle, a clear water spring burst forth, and the dying prisoners were saved. And now I would like to present a few interesting personalities. First, let me present the Honorable John R. Voorhees. Mr. Voorhees will be 102 years old in July. He has voted more times than anyone in America. Now, don't get me wrong. What I mean is that he has voted 81 times since the age of 21. And here's another hearty old fellow, Tom Wichter, 70 years old, of Coleander, Alabama. Tom has ignored the progress of civilization, and he's still living in the primitive past. He uses oxen as means of transportation and has never ridden on a train or in an automobile or ever been in a large city, believe it or not. And now I want to introduce to you probably the only telephone operator in this country who is not deaf. And certainly not dumb. Kurt Thompson of Erie, Illinois, is blind, but has operated a switchboard which he has never seen for 25 years. He uses the touch system the same as a typist, And believe it or not, he has never given a wrong number. But boys will be boys. And here's one who is a man at an age when most kids are still playing marbles. Clarence Kerr is 6 years old, but has been refused admittance to the Toledo public schools because he shaves regularly, speaks in a baritone voice, and can lift 200 pounds. In Clarence's home, it isn't Father who is blamed for the ashes on the carpet. It's more likely Junior, for he smokes big black cigars.
And now you're going to see a most amazing feat on the billiard table. That of shooting a billiard ball twice around a table containing 120 other balls without touching one until it strikes the last two for a perfect hit. Mr. Otto Reiselt, former world champion, will demonstrate this shot. Please note the speed of the ball on its way around the table. It travels a distance of 41 feet without touching another ball.
Well, gentlemen, it's about time to shove off. Perhaps we shall all meet again soon, for I'm always bobbing up in some strange port, believe it or not.